her chief strategist for most of the campaign, great majority of the campaign, was a guy named Mark Penn. And he believed in running very similar tactics to Karl Rove, but on the Democratic side. And so not a big fan of him at all. But it turns out that he had some George Bush-like tendencies as well. Last year, as they're strategizing about how to win, they're already in the heat of the battle, in the heat of the primaries have not started yet, but remember they started campaigning all the way in the beginning of 2007. So at some point last year, during a strategy meeting, Mark Penn, the quote-unquote chief strategist, said, well, we should have this thing wrapped up after we win California and take the 370 delegates from that. And other people sitting around the table were like, does he not realize that the Democratic race in California is proportional and not winner take all? And Harold Ickes, who can't stand Mark Penn, who's another person of Clinton's team, said, please, Mr. Vaunted Chief Strategist, tell me you don't tell me you don't realize that California is proportional and not winner take all like the Republican system. He's like, yeah, sure, yeah, I know the difference between a Shiite and a Sunni. Yeah, I know that it's proportional and not winner take all. Man, for the quote-unquote chief strategist of Hillary Clinton not to know that is devastating. So, I mean, you might not have known that. In fact, I didn't know that for a long time. But I'm not Hillary Clinton's chief strategist. I wasn't trying to get her elected president. And then, believe me, I think I might have found out earlier than Mark Penn did. That's unbelievable. And here is the devastating part. Okay, so that's, unbelievable that he didn't know that. Okay, but what were the ramifications of that? The ramification was they ran a big state strategy. And when Mark Penn was told this, as you know, so many arrogant people that you've ran across in your life, if you correct them on something, they get all like insecure and defensive, and they go harder in the other direction. He's like, oh, yeah, no, the big state strategy is the right one. We're going to stick with the big state strategy. But it's not winner take all, so that strategy doesn't make as much sense. He's like, no, don't worry about it. We win California, we win New York, we win these big states, and we'll win it. Well, he was 100% wrong, 0% right. They won a lot of the bigger states, and it didn't do them any good. And two devastating reasons why she lost. We pointed this out before. Now time is pointing it out, and I think they're right. They have 5 reasons, but I think the 2 most important ones are they paid no attention to the caucus states. They thought, oh, these little caucus states, they're irrelevant. We're going to win the big states. I can't be bothered to put together an organization where we have to go on the ground, and it doesn't play to our strengths, so let's ignore that. Oopsie doopsie. They got their ass handed to them in the caucus states, and that made all the difference. And point number 2, they thought, we're the big Clinton fundraising machine. We go to these cocktails, and we get the maximum out of all of our donors and their friends and everybody else they know, and they'll never match us in fundraising. Except they forgot this little thing that was invented, ironically, by Bill Clinton's vice president, Al Gore, the Internet. Okay, Gore didn't really invent the Internet. So, and what happened was Obama was like, I bet I make a website here, BarackObama.com. Oh, will you look at that? I got 800,000 donors. Oh, look at that. I got 1 million donors. Oh, look at that. I got 1.5 million donors. And they keep giving $5, $10, $50, $100, and it keeps pouring in. Meanwhile, all of Hillary Clinton's rich donors tapped out at $2,300, which is the maximum. They can't give any more than that by law. So all of a sudden, what they thought was going to be their huge fundraising advantage turned into a huge fundraising disadvantage. And then they couldn't compete effectively, again, in the caucus state with a ground operation and also in advertising as well. But mainly more with the staff. I think that's where it really helped Obama to have more money. And finally, the third thing, those are the 2 huge strategic mistakes. The third thing is more of a attitude. They were just way too arrogant. Way too arrogant. Not only in dismissing the caucus states, not only in dismissing the smaller states, not only in dismissing Obama overall, but they thought, we can't possibly lose. And they didn't plan ahead. So they thought, as Mark Penn said in that meeting last year, after California and after Super Tuesday, we won't have to do anything. And Clinton's team in Obama's team is quoted as saying, we would be at a state that was coming up, and we'd look around and we'd be surprised to find no Clinton people there. Her advance team had not gone to the states that were coming up later because they thought, nah, we'll have beaten them by then. We don't need to bother campaigning in Virginia and Maryland. Oops. So that's why after Super Tuesday, Obama won those decisive 11 victories in a row that settled this race for good. Because Hillary Clinton's team was cocky, didn't plan for those states, didn't think those states were that important, and thought they'd have plenty of money by then. And then none of those things came to be true. And their arrogance, really, overall, is what cost them the election. And I got to tell you, that makes me feel kind of good. You know, you want to be cocky, you want to be arrogant, and you want to run to the right, and you get your comeuppance. Sad day for you.